Good evening, good morning, good night, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to another issue of Broken Not Shattered. Today, my guest is a top celebrity, one of the biggest in the business, as long as I'm concerned. She is a makeup artist who's done a lot of work with folks in Hollywood, if I'm not mistaken. Welcome to the Broken Not Shattered BNS podcast for the very first time. Hopefully, not the last. My guest, Ashanta Sharif. Sharif, that's your last name, isn't it, Sharif?
Kendricks, yeah, you Kendricks, yes, is the last name.
I knew there was a double barrel name somewhere.
Any name, yeah, Shuja Sharif
Yes.
Kendricks. I know a lot of
How you
names
doing,
here.
Shanta? Thanks so
Nice
much.
to meet you, Ike. Is it Ike or Ike?
It's Ike, actually.
Okay, Ike. Nice to meet you as well. And thank you guys for having me.
Thanks. Welcome to the BNS. So it's exciting to have someone who does makeup on the podcast, right? In today's world, makeup is not the same as it was many years ago. It's a big industry. And you are not just a makeup artist, you are an entrepreneur. Uh,
Yes.
so that separates you from the rest of the people out there who are just doing it for the sake of doing it, right? You have your online. Share
Yes.
your journey with us. Our audience would like to know who is she and what's the journey been like.
So I've been a makeup artist for 29 years now. I've been working in the entertainment industry 25 years. Some of my clients, actually, it's funny because some of my clients are in the news. So my first celebrity client is was Diddy. I kind of came into the business as Sean Puffy Combs makeup artist in the early 2000s, and so I was with him and with Usher and with Jay-Z, and I ended up in a space of doing what we call it in Hollywood male grooming, not as in what people look at it now as, but the actual beautification of, mattifying a man's skin and making him look camera ready. And that's what my job was for some of these men. And then I would end up working with a lot of the female artists that they worked with. I would work with some of their partners or girlfriends. And so that led me to working with more females, which was what wanted to do in the first place.
Oh, wow.
And then around 2004, I ended up doing a vote or die commercial that was actually produced by Diddy, and it was directed by Lee Daniels.
Oh,
And
wow.
in that commercial featured a whole slew of famous people, because this was like, again, we were around election time, like right now,
Okay.
and it was a really intense election. It was between Bush and Clinton. And so it was kind of a similar energy, I feel like right now, what we feel like in the world. And so I ended up doing Alicia Keys for the very first time in that commercial. And then that led me to being with her for 14 years.
One time you did one time and you stayed for 14 years.
For 14 years, yes.
Oh, that's a blessing. That's a
Yes.
wow. That's a
Yeah.
wow. Woo. Okay. Over 20 years in the business. You've been in the industry for a while. It's
Yes.
very obvious. Um, what are the big challenges you face between um, beauty and self confidence?
What are the challenges about beauty and
Yeah.
self-confidence?
Or what would you say the lessons that you can share with people when it comes to makeup, which is beauty, and self confidence? Does it?
I mean, beauty and self-confidence can go hand in hand because a woman can feel confident, but then put her face on and feel like another level up. Beauty in terms of how you feel about self, it should really always start inside of you. What my job is as a makeup artist is to just amplify what you have in terms of structure and features, and then that's the tangible, like real brass nuts of makeup, like taking someone's features and bringing them out. And then the other aspect is you wearing that with confidence. Um, there's tons of women in the world who are stunningly beautiful with no makeup on, but lack self-confidence. So self-confidence and self-worth are something that have nothing to do with your external beauty. It is from inside. And I know because I've seen
Wow.
so many women in my industry, not even just makeup artists, hairstylists, fashion stylists, but even in front of camera who battle with issues of self-worth, beauty, and security, feeling the security of in terms of their physical looks. So this is why, beauty is a $1 trillion industry because women are always looking for the next anti-aging fix, and they're looking for the next thing that's going to make them look youthful and the thing that's going to do this and the thing. So this is why it's a hugely successful and very profitable industry to be in.
Wow. So
I
so
apologize.
if that's right.
My nose
So if
is
it
it's driving me crazy. Go ahead.
so if it actually
Edit
starts,
that
that's right. Um, if it actually starts from within, which is the self confidence, does
out. Right.
makeup in any way um, help address the issue, or is makeup just another way of putting a camouflage over it?
I mean, as I got ready to do this podcast, I came downstairs, I set my lights up, I sat down and I had no makeup on and I thought about like, should I do this podcast without makeup on? But no, I'm not going to. Why? Because I'm a brand and this is the face that the world is used to seeing me in. Do I go without makeup on social media and show start to finish tutorials? Yes. Do I show like my most raw state? Absolutely.
Mm.
But it takes confidence for people to do that. There are some women, they have like I remember hearing these stories growing up, of women waking up before their partners or, whoever they're intimate with and actually running to the bathroom to do light bedroom makeup, and
We actually see them.
yeah, so and then go back to sleep and act like you woke up like this, and now in this modern day time, we actually have technologies that allow you to have permanent makeup so that you don't have to wake up 15-30 minutes before your partner and fix it. So you can go get your brows microbladed, micro shaded, you can get your lip tattoo colored, you can get lip eyeliner tattoo. So there is so much level of enhancement. So clearly beauty is something, like I said, is really kind of an external thing. It's all what in the eye of the beholder, like what a person deems beautiful. And I think that women um, have an archetype of what is beautiful to them as well, and they're always trying to strive to achieve it. However, it's an endless journey you'll be on if you're trying to strive to a beauty you can't ascertain you know? So you have to learn how to really have love of self, and makeup should be just that enhancement to zhuzh you up a little bit more.
Right,
But
right.
everyone else should be able to see all of the beauty you have within. They should be able to see that too. I always tell people find something about yourself. You may not feel like your whole face is beautiful, like, and this is for
What your
guys
nose
too.
could be, or your
But you,
lips
but
could
you,
be.
but you, yeah, you find a feature that really, go, oh, I've got great eyes. I have great set of eyebrows, or I've got great cheekbones, and really like play those things up because that's also too a way of how you can work on self-esteem by just appreciating the things that you do have that are great.
Well, we're going to talk about self love in a second, but let's talk about one more thing. I want to talk about business now. As a brand
Okay.
owner, you're entrepreneur, you're doing your thing out there. What inspired you to create a beauty line? What inspired you, and what would you say um, are your biggest takeaways in the industry?
What inspired me to make a beauty line is my years of experience. I come into this entrepreneur game not a novice. I'm coming in with 29 years of real makeup, tangible professional experience. What does that mean? I have countless products. I know formulation. I've done product development for other brands, for big brands like Dior and for CoverGirl and for Mary Kay Cosmetics. I've been a brand influencer and ambassador to huge global brands as well when I was, strictly a celebrity makeup artist and not a brand entrepreneur. I'm actually a brand sponsor to a brand right now, to a skincare brand. So, I still get influencer deals because I'm one of those original influencers in my time, just like Sam Fine, who is a global renowned makeup artist who inspired me to become a makeup artist. He's one of the baddest to ever do it, is a global influential person to the world of beauty, especially Black beauty creatives. So his influence is forever, So I feel like I have put my stain, so to speak, in my over 2 decades in the industry, and that's what warrants me to have a beauty brand, my experience. You're paying for the experience. I've done hundreds of complexions, faces, shapes, television, film, Broadway, commercial, music video, ad campaign, editorial, red carpet. I've done the gamut, master
Yeah.
classes. So when you get to this place, like they say, once you've done something for 10 years, you become a master. I've overmastered. So, you know, we're talking about 3 decades now. I'm an overmaster at this point, but I'm still humble. I'm still approachable. I'm still someone that, a makeup artist can run up to. Literally, I was at a trade show called the Ultimate Women's Expo here in Chicago just this past weekend. Just so people get an idea, this was the last weekend of October, and a makeup artist saw me as I'm packing down my vending booth because I have my product line, and we go out and we sell at trade shows. And so my husband and I are packing everything down, and we're rolling out to the car. She's like, "Is she Mr. Sharif? Oh, she's Mr. Sharif." And I turn around and she's got a baby on her hip. She runs over to me and she goes, "Oh my gosh, I'm an aspiring makeup artist. I've been a pro makeup artist, for the last couple of years." She said, "But I still feel like I'm aspiring to get to a certain level. You've really inspired me. I know that you feel, sometimes you're underrated and people may not know who you are or know the work that you've done or what you've contributed. But I see you. I thank you. I'm so honored to meet you. Thank you for stopping." And she really like touched me. And I'm approachable in that way. People DM me, they write me, they text me, and I will take a minute. It only takes a minute, right, to just pour back into someone because it's not about just the elevator going sideways and me helping my peers. It's about helping people coming up in the industry. And then sometimes I have my mentors, who I may pour into because maybe they feel tired and beat up and worn
Hmm.
because they're not seen. Because what's happening in social media, also, I'll tap into this, is there's so many people, I even seen it with even entertainers. I remember looking at social media one day and Kim Kardashian had more following than Kendrick Lamar at one point, and I thought that was insane to me, because not because I dislike the Kardashians, they're amazing business women and very brilliant at what they do, but we're talking about Kendrick Lamar here as a
Yeah.
global
Yeah.
music artist, and this was like around 10 years ago, and of course he's amassed a huge following since then, but I watched a lot of people like it was funny. It was someone like really iconic. I can't remember who it was, and I was like, I can't believe they only have like 200,000 people following them. And so, what I will say to your audience, is there are legends living amongst us, iconic people who've put in groundwork in this beauty industry,
Mm.
and people don't know who they are. And
Yeah.
so I decided that I no longer would stand in that shadow, that if the world doesn't see me, that I am strong enough and I believe in myself to put myself out there and be like, hey, look at me. I'm worthy of having a product line. I have the experience, the expertise. I know about trend forecasting with beauty. I know about sustainable packaging. Like, I know what to do. I've done these things for different people. Let me do it, and I can do it for myself. And so that's a part of self belief, too. That goes back to what you were talking about, self worth, self belief.
Right.
So not only do I have credentials to create this line, I believe I'm worthy of having one. You
And
got to
how?
believe that.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, with the level of expertise and what you've done over the years, it's pretty sure that you have that knowledge and wealth of experience to put your line out there. So how do you sustain it? How do you make it bankable or marketable? And how do you stay in the market so in the next 10 years we're still talking about your brand? Because there's someone
You know,
watching, wondering how okay, what's the plan? How can I be like her?
that is such, I actually have like goosebumps with this question because that is a really major thing, especially for Black women founded beauty brands.
There you go.
And that includes hair and skincare. We're funded less than 2% compared to our white female counterparts. So we're talking about 98% out here get money, get SBA loans, get grants, get funding. But what happens with the Black and brown girls, right, who don't get that same level of funding? We have to bootstrap our companies. We have to build community. And
Mhm.
so we have to kind of go about it at a different approach. Not everyone's going to have, like Super Scent, who is, on a reality show and drops the Crayola crayon box, which is a cool, fun, niche beauty brand, and drop $1 million in sales in one day. That's
Right.
not everyone's journey. And
Yeah.
and bravo to her, for taking her audience and amplifying and monetizing it because that's really what it's about. We're
Mhm.
taking the community, you take your community And if your community believes in you, because it's really not about product at the end of the day, right? Everybody has skincare, makeup, hair. Everybody has that their thing. What makes your brand unique is what you bring to it.
Mm,
It's you. And so you bring your expertise, your knowledge, how I think as a makeup artist to go, you know what? There's a beauty sponge on the market. There are tons of beauty sponges in the market. What's going to make this one different? This is my personal one. Why is this different? Why is this more unique? Why a diamond shape? Because, when you have a different shape, more rounded shape, and you go to apply your makeup, a lot of times you have to squeeze your hand to get into this crevice of your eye.
mm,
And what will happen is over time of you squeezing, you can see the muscle in my hand. You can actually see that you get strain on your hand over time. If I put on makeup every day I'm doing that. Now imagine being a makeup artist. It's 10 times more because I'm not just doing my makeup, I'm doing other people's makeup. So I'm getting 10 times more stress. What is that stress going to lead to? Strain. Strain is going to lead to carpal tunnel. So this diamond shape, which has all angles, can lay in the corner of the face without me having to squeeze. I don't have to squeeze anything. I'm not squeezing. I'm just holding, because it allows it to lay. That's what having expertise and experience does. It goes, you know what? Everyone has this shaped sponge out here, but honestly, like this shaped sponge could cause long-term damage. So how do I make it better? So we have to think like we're not necessarily reinventing a wheel, but what we're doing is how can we elevate that wheel and make it that much better? How are we problem solving? And so that's what Ashinta Shari's beauty, for me is really like taking things like this is a product called I got to remember the cameras over here. So this is Blur Effects. It just looks like foundation in a bottle, but it's not just foundation in a bottle. It has a blurring technology that allows to blur your skin imperfection, which is why my skin looks so flawless. It has a built-in primer. It has niacinamide, squalene, hyaluronic acid, but then it has a concealer built into the cap. So it's, anyone who knows products knows now I'm getting three products for the price of one. And I have a full-size mirror in here, so I can do this on the go. This is travel friendly. We have 14 shades. I wasn't on here to sell product, but that's what I'm talking
you
about
can go
is
ahead and sell your product, guys. Sell your product.
but that's the innovation, in creating a product that I can use these three things and have a really great flawless face. And that's something like that a makeup artist the mind of a makeup artist knows how to create. And so that's why, having a brand for me was this is my second time doing it too. I also have something to prove.
Wow.
So the first time I had a product line was in 2012. I had a brand called Perfect Blend. Again, product innovation. I was the first person to make a double-ended foundation stick. I wish I had one. If I had one, I would show it to you because they're really pretty.
Mm,
But it's a dual-ended foundation stick. I don't think I have one close by. It's okay.
mm,
But it basically allows you to highlight and contour. And I was the first person to come up with this idea at that time in 2011. And then we actually got on QVC in 2012. And I was one of the first few Black owned brands to go on QVC at that time. And then I went on a couple of times. And the last time I went on, even though we had a five-star product, even though we sold out, I had trademark infringement because the name of my brand was Perfect Blend by Ashinta Sharif, and my business partner didn't do due diligence to trademark the entire name of the brand. So he thought it was safe to just trademark my name, but not Perfect Blend, and someone owns the trademark to Perfect Blend.
oh wow.
So
And
I
that,
had a whole lawsuit, got pulled off QVC. And so for me, I never even thought about touching a makeup brand. That was enough embarrassment, the bankruptcy, the thousands and thousands of pieces of products that I had to physically retrieve from QVC's facility, the embarrassment of going on air a few times, having a five-star product and then being pulled off. It is talk about, devastation. I had devastation, but I believe in something greater than myself, and I basically what I would say is cocooned myself for a few years and just really like worked on myself because I had to build my self-worth back up because something like that I was so connected to me being successful, right? Like me, oh, a checkbox, I'm on QVC, I'm a makeup brand, da 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 da. And you're on top of the world, but then you get knocked off. And I had to go, did you get knocked off because maybe you weren't ready? Maybe you weren't ready fully for what it takes to be an entrepreneur, like all of the work that it will take. And now here we are, 2022. I start Shinta Sharif Beauty. I'm almost 3 years old. And for longevity, what it takes, I will say, is resilience, and it takes community believing in you. That's your family, your friends, and the people that you meet that believe and buy your product. Tell people about us. Share your experience with our brand. Share even your bad experiences because that actually helps us be better. I take all those reviews when people have written, like, I tried Thermal Blush, which is a pH color changing blush oil. When you apply it, it actually changes right on your face based on your pH chemistry. And so it's a really highly innovative formulation that I created for the brand, and it works universally for everyone. It's amazing. And number one selling product we have. And so when someone goes, it doesn't work, I know that they just didn't know how to use it. Why? Because we have over 5,000 reviews, five-star reviews.
Mm.
Those reviews do not lie. These are from real women all around the world who've used this blush. We've been on Today Show. We've been on featured on Good Morning America. We've been featured in magazines. We're rated Oprah Daily's top liquid blushes in the market for 2024. So the proof is in the pudding. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what creates the success. You may not see it. I'm going to give this little word of inspiration to, aspiring entrepreneurs. You may not see it immediately. You may not see all of the strides you're making all at once. But just one day, just sit and close your eyes and really look at what you've overcome and the resilience that it took you to get where you are, and like really stand in that and really go like, I'm doing this. And that's part of the success too, is believing in yourself.
Wow. You just took my second question out, so that's fine. I was going to do the
Sorry, I'm
follow.
such a talker.
No, no, which is fine. It's great because I was, while you were talking, I think when you were about to share your story, uh, how things went south after QVC, that is brokenness right there. You were completely broken and you retrieved into a place where you had to regain yourself back, which means you were not shattered. And this
Yes,
is and that's I keep on telling my audience and everyone else I meet, every successful person has a story. Most of the time you don't see the story. Now look at that story. I bet you if we dig deeper, that 3 years was some serious 3 years of you getting yourself back together. And I thank you for sharing that part. So when people look at you now, they know that, okay, it's easy for Humpty Dumpty to sit on the wall, and it's easy for Humpty Dumpty to have a great fall.
right.
What happens after that is now left for Humpty Dumpty himself. And in
I
your
want to tell you, I want
Mhm.
to tell your audience what ended up transpiring after the 3 year valley. When you're in a 3 year valley, of really like, I ended up in a car accident,
Mhm.
a near-death car accident. So QVC happened, then a near-death car accident, and then my client Alicia Keys decided she no longer wanted to work with not just me, but our entire Glam squad. And so she basically wanted to try new things, and part of that was not wearing makeup, and that was fine because it's a client at the end of the day. They have the right to do
To
what they
decide.
want.
Hmm.
It's just that, was it the right timing for me? No, because that had been really like my bread and butter, me being her personal makeup artist for 14 years. It was many clients that I had to turn down because I had loyalty to working with her, and including Rihanna. When I worked with Rihanna during that 5 year time period, it was like sometimes like I was choosing Alicia over her. And then, you look in hindsight on, how huge of an artist Rihanna is, and had I made different, more selfish choices and not been loyal, because that's also too real.
Hmm.
There are makeup artists that right now they're not going to be loyal to one person. They're
Hmm.
not, because the modern generation is really all about the stair step and what people are doing for them. So if they can get this person and that takes them to this level, oh, but that's one over here, they're a little bit higher than that person, I'm going over here. And you'll see that, and they will be loyal to the highest person. They absolutely will. And that's just how this industry is. And that's how people are within this industry. They have all this allegiance to the higher it goes up.
Right.
So for me, um, getting into a valley of not working, losing my QVC deal, my brand going under, me having all this freaking product that I have no place to sell it, And then a car accident that puts me, incapacitated for 9 months where I'm not walking and I'm in rehab. Talk about go through a valley, talk about
Mm,
shattered.
mm,
And so from that shattering, 2015 looks like a whole new life to me when Taraji P. Henson gets a job on this show called Empire in 2014. And then the show comes out. It's a massive success. I'm doing all the press for the show, even though they wouldn't let me come do the makeup for the show first season. I'm doing all the press here and there, except for exception of a very few things. And then season two, I'm asked to come. I moved to Chicago from New York City after being like super broken. And then the next year in 2016, I'm on the cover of the Hollywood Reporter. I'm the first Black female to get on the cover of the Hollywood Reporter. I get nominated for my first Emmy. I get nominated for a Makeup Artist Guild Award, and I get all kind of brand deals. My work is all over every magazine, and I literally just like couldn't believe like the 360 my life had.
see God at work. Mm, wow.
So I just call that really listening to God's wisdom, really, because
Yeah.
in that 3-year valley, I had been friends with Taraji all through that time.
Mm,
And she would be, whenever she was in New York, we would hang out, do, dinner, we'd go out to dance because we love to dance, or we just hang out, walk around, shop, or whatever. And we just had our sisterhood and our bond. And she was like, I'm getting this show, that I think you would be amazing for. And she kept her word, and she fought to get me on there, even though I couldn't get on there that first season. That second season, I was there. And it was like a big change. I'd never lived outside of New York City. I traveled all over the world, but
mhm.
I've never lived outside of New York City for almost 40 years at that time. So I moved to Chicago. And then since I've been here in Chicago, like that was a whole new journey for me. That led to me meeting my husband and getting married and buying a home and starting a Sharif Beauty. So, and again, entrepreneurship has its own valleys, trust me.
Oh,
It's not
definitely.
an
I,
easy,
I could
it's
tell.
not for the faint of heart. You must have resilience and just determination that a no is a no for now. That's it.
Mm, mm.
That retail store that doesn't want you right now, they're gonna want you.
They'll come back. They'll come
They're
back.
gonna come back. Just keep doing what you're doing, and you have to really. I've been a person who has had to be resilient in that way my whole life. My
Wow.
whole life has been like that. So that's why I'm working on a book because I've had challenges from very, very early childhood. And when I look at the success of billionaires and a lot of successful people, people think some of them are born with spoons in their mouth.
Nah,
No,
nah.
a lot of them have gone through some serious hard knocks to attain the wealth they have. And I believe that Sharif Beauty is totally capable of being a $1 billion brand. Pat McGrath is a $1 billion brand. Charlotte Tilbury is a $1 billion brand. Makeup by Mario soon to probably be a $1 billion brand. And Patrick Ta, he's another celebrity makeup artist. I'm sure he's on his way to being a $1 billion brand.
Mm.
What do these people have in common? They're all makeup artists.
They'll all make it.
So, and they're all the top makeup artists. And I didn't even put in Vanessa Myers Beauty. Then we have Laura Mercier, or we have Bobbi Brown, or MAC Cosmetics.
Mm,
All of these brands were founded by who? Makeup artists,
mm,
professional makeup artists. And so there's something to be said about a brand that's founded by professional makeup artists, just like a hair care line. And so that's kind of like the thing that gives me some strength too,
mm,
because I know that I'm standing on real gold in terms of my product knowledge and wealth.
mm.
All we
You-
need is the money. That's all. We just need the money. So we're fundraising right
We're
now.
gonna
I'll put
take.
that out to the audience.
Well, make sure you send some our way, though. It's
Absolutely.
coming. It's
Listen,
coming.
if any
It's coming.
funding comes from your people, I'll give you a percentage.
It's coming. A few people are gonna watch this and gonna say, "Oh my God, that's good." Where do we get to? I'm gonna ask you a few things towards the end as we wrap up within a few minutes. I'm gonna
Okay.
take a 10-second break and then we're gonna come back in again and talk more about what's going on. Welcome back to the BNS Podcast. My guest today is one of the top makeup artists. If you missed the first part of the show, you need to go back and hear her and her story. As we bring the show to the end, I have two questions for you. Question number one, it's a very simple one. Now I know that your story initially was about the valley, but right now we're climbing gradually on top of the hill back to where you actually belong, and you are actually
Mm-hmm.
working on a Netflix project. Survival
Yeah.
of the Thickest. You're on it, right?
Yes, I worked actually as the makeup department head for Survival of the Thickest season one. It was an amazing experience because I don't think I've ever department headed a show that had so much creative, fun makeup looks, and it's really like underrated. So I want your audience to go watch Netflix Survival of the Thickest season one. It is funny as hell. It's Michelle Buteau, it's Tasha Smith, it's Tone Bell, and the three of them are the leads, but they have an amazingly kind of a soft autobiographical story about Michelle Buteau and her coming to be who she is. And so there was so many characters and so much different like creative makeup looks. It was really a lot of fun to work on.
Wow, that's good. Well, definitely the audience will go out and watch it as soon as it's out. Season one is already out, correct? So
Yes,
yes.
I
All
worked
right.
on a few shows. The Best Man Final Chapters,
Mm.
starring Terrence Howard, Tay Diggs, and Lathan, Nia Long, um, Harold Perrineau, Morris Chestnut, Regina Hall. I'm trying to think of who else, and
Mhm.
who else is there? Why can't I think? But yeah, that the
And the
Peacock
list and
series.
the list goes on and on of people that
Yeah,
you've actually
so
worked
that's another one on Peacock. Guys, check that one out.
with. Okay, great. So looking back now, um, if you were to speak to the 16-year-old you, si-
Uh-huh.
the 16-year-old you, what would you tell them about self-care?
If I was talking to 16-year-old Shunta, I think that for me, I needed to just learn how to breathe. I think my 16-year-old self was anxiety ridden and highly stressed. I can remember that time in my life, especially because I was actually in a boarding preparatory school in Massachusetts called Tabor Academy. So I didn't have like the normal high school experience. I was away in boarding school and I was, in very intense AP classes, and it was just really intense. And I just remember being like always kind of stressed. And so I think that like my mornings now, like during school year, especially when my kids are in school, they start with me like walking and my dog and like really breathing and doing self-affirmation and really centering and grounding myself because that's something we all can do is just taking that moment to just breathe. It's just simple as breathing. Really can be a game changer for you to just calm everything down and get yourself centered. And that's what I would have told myself because I think I was running around so intense at that age. I didn't know how to do that.
Wow.
I didn't know that I could calm the anxiety down by just simply breathing.
Well, whew. So here I go breathing.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Breathing is amazing. It's a
It's
game
amazing.
changer.
It's the perfect way to get rid of anxiety, and
Yeah.
it's anyone can afford to breathe in and breathe out and just do that.
It's
Uh,
free and it's free.
and it's free. You don't have to pay for it.
You don't have to pay
Uh,
for it.
so I know my audience are gonna kill me if I don't ask you this question. Um, the ladies are watching.
Hmm.
Give us three tips, easy tips that any woman can do to step out as a makeup artist, to step out looking good on a daily basis. Just three tips.
Three
If you want to
tips.
do four, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay. One tip is your skincare. You can't get flawless, glowing, radiant makeup that looks skin-like, healthy, and fresh without really great skincare. What is great skincare? Making sure you have a really great serum, your eye cream, a great moisturizer, of course, a toner. I didn't say it all in order, but you need at least those four things a minimum. And then you make sure you use sunblock. People always tend to leave out sunblock, especially women of color because we have this mindset. We think our melanin protects us from the sun. The melanin doesn't protect you from the sun. The melanin is vitamin D itself. It actually helps you with better sun absorption, that vitamin D from the sun. That's what it's doing. And so you want to make sure that you actually protect this topical layer, which we call skin, because the rays of the sun actually are the highest level of aging that you can get outside of stress because it's the number one factor in aging is the sun. And you can just look at a piece of fruit. If I sat it in the sun, it's going to dry.
Good guy.
So that's the second tip. So great skincare. Make sure you include your sun SPF, and then make sure that you are using right foundation. I think that sometimes people are not choosing the right selection for their foundation because they're matching something that they shouldn't. So I'm going to tell you the best place to match. You want to match on the jawline. So you basically, if you go in a store, you do like the three swap tests. You pick the color you think it works, like in the middle, and then you pick the other two colors that you think are pretty close on the outer side. Typically, if you are the one that really matches, it should be matching not just from the jawline but to the neck because you want to make sure you blend all the way into here. Some people just match their here but don't blend down here, or they don't make sure they're the same color from here to here. So you just want to make sure you're doing that, and you still can do a high lifting. Some women love that highlight and that intense concealer lift. You can still do that, but just make sure between here and here is matching because everything needs to be gradiently moving down. You don't want to be light up here and dark down here. That's a good tip, I feel
So,
like, for most
so,
people.
so, so let me. This is just my experience. So, if you put makeup around here, and you're wearing a
hmm
shirt or a jacket or something, isn't it gonna stain it? How do you avoid the stains?
When we're doing makeup for people in television, they're getting a light dust and the makeup on the neck. But what we typically do is like I take paper towel or napkins or something and like cuff the clothing, the collar,
Mhm.
dip the neck, but I don't go all the way down to the paper towel. So it's kind of up there. And then you make sure you use a setting spray. A setting spray like so, when you put it on, locks the makeup in place. So it's not
Oh,
moving and
so
shifting and
it doesn't
transferring.
move around. Okay.
So you need a setting spray, absolutely. So you're not transferring to clothing.
Wow.
That's the fourth tip. So yeah, make a setting spray. Definitely get those.
There you go. Thank you so much. You've heard it from the professional herself, the expert herself. Ladies, you owe me now. These are some mega tips that people pay mega dollars to get it. You got it all for free on the BNS podcast. Shanta, thank you so much for being our guest today. And we look forward to hearing you. Where can folks find you? And if they want to follow you, I think it's big that you let them know, especially our sisters out there.
Absolutely. So you guys can follow me on my personal page on Instagram is Adashunta Sharif Kendrick. The brand page is Adashunta Sharif Beauty. And that's also the same for TikTok. We actually have a TikTok shop. It's Adashunta Sharif Beauty. And then if you want to shop any of our products, you can go to www.ashuntabeauty.com.
Wow. Thank you so much. And thanks for being a guest on this show. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it from the best of the best of the best. This is her first time, but I know she's gonna be back here again, and we'll have her again. On our famous three words as we close the show, we wish you more love, peace, and more grace. Thanks, girl. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a good one.
All right, darling.